The next thing that's important to review and to explain is the difference between a bilingual program and an ESL program. So a school can have a bilingual program if they have 20 or more ELLs in a single language. So in Hackensack, the single language or the predominant language is Spanish, but in Fort Lee, it's Korean. In Linden, it's Creole. So it just depends on the school district. And then if you do have a bilingual program, then you have to provide all the content courses. So focus that more on middle school and high school. Like science, math, social studies has to be taught in the child's language or the predominant language that you have 20 or more students in. In the case of Hackensack, it's Spanish. So they learn social studies, math, and science in Spanish while they learn English. Once they reach a certain level of English, then you provide them with an English language learner schedule, which is you're learning the content in English all day. So math, science, social studies is no longer in Spanish, it's in English, but everything is modified as you're still learning the language. And in the elementary school level, the child is in one classroom with one teacher and hopefully an assistant in the classroom, depending on the size of the class, where the teacher is going to teach science, math, social studies, all in Spanish, and then provide ESL completely in English. Same thing for middle school and high school. ESL courses are only taught in English. Then when you have an ESL program, you have more than 10, less than 20 students, right, that need the service based on the screener, based on the home language surveys. And you basically are providing general education content courses, but you're ensuring that their general education teachers are trained in SIOP so that they know how to scaffold their lessons, modify their lessons, so that ESL students can be successful in a general education setting. You sometimes, depending on how many students you have a separate class just for ESL where the students go and learn English by a teacher, or during the language arts period of the class, whether elementary, middle, or high school, there's an ESL teacher in the classroom circulating and co-teaching with the general education teacher. Another important thing that I think a supervisor administrator needs to know is how to complete a master schedule. So I am going to go over this now. So here, what you're going to see once it loads is how I completed the schedule. This is my high school example, sorry. So what I did was I listed the course codes based off of Genesis, the name of the courses, the total number of students, the class sizes, and then the number of sections each teacher could have to have a full load of 5 courses. Then here is where the real magic happened, I believe. I coded everything with color because we couldn't have a teacher teaching 4 in a row. I also didn't want a teacher to have to not be ready or not have enough time to set up for their classes if they had to move to another classroom to teach. So just to give you an example, the pink one here is a teacher named by Ms. Grullon. She taught in room 307, period 2 and period 3. She was off period 4. She taught period 5 in another room across the hall and taught there 2 periods in a row so that she didn't have to, dismantle, set up and things like that. make it a little easier for her. Our lunch periods are 5th, 6th, and 7th, so she most likely had lunch 7th period, and 4th period was either her duty or prep, and then she would teach period 8, time to set up, but in the same room, so it wasn't too much work. And then she had a duty or prep period 9, according to the schedule. So this was an easy way to schedule my world language teachers so that they can have the most success. And this was another way of me ensuring that teachers only had 2 contents, sometimes only 1. And that's kind of an example of how I did the master schedule for the high school. For the middle school, and the middle school was a little more complicated, but I was still very successful with it. This is the general education grid to show the periods and how they were. So the 5th grade is 90 minutes, and then 6th grade, 7th grade it changed, 8th grade it changed, and then world language was very different. So what I did was I would use the grid, and then I would assign my world language teachers their different courses based on the grid. And then we had A day, we used to have A day and B day in the middle school. So what I would do, I would make sure that, I had an A day and B day schedule. Most importantly, ESL bilingual in the middle school with social studies. I would follow the grid, and then I would, during the time where 5th grade had their core classes, I would make sure that students could be placed so that if they had ESL and they were going to transition mid-year into ESL only and be in general education, the schedule would align and they could still be successful. So that's what you see here. And then and that is, I think, what showcased the type of administrator I was, type of supervisor I was, how I handled multiple schools, and the things that I did to ensure success with both parents, other administrators, teachers, and students in the program. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a great